Think about the last time everything went wrong. Maybe someone shouted at you, a deadline was looming, or a high-stakes situation felt like it was spiraling out of control. What was your first instinct? For 99% of people, the answer is panic. Their heart rates spike, their breathing gets shallow, their voices get higher, and they lose the ability to think clearly. It's a complete system meltdown. But then there's the 1%. The individuals who seem to move through chaos as if they're rewatching a movie in slow motion. While everyone else is drowning in emotion, these high-value people remain eerily calm. This isn't because they're robots or because they don't feel stress. It's because they've mastered a psychological secret that makes them virtually unbreakable. They've built an internal fortress. Today, I'm going to reveal the Stoic Anchor technique and 4 other habits that the world's most effective people use to dominate high-pressure situations. If you've ever felt like your emotions were controlling you instead of the other way around, you need to pay close attention. Especially to habit number 4, it's called the observer's pivot, and it is the fastest way. I know to regain control when your brain is screaming for you to panic. But before we unlock these secrets, let's make a pact. If you're ready to become the person who stays cool when others lose their heads, comment UNSHAKABLE below. It's not just for the algorithm. It's a commitment to yourself that you are no longer a slave to your reactions. You're taking back control, starting now. Let's begin with the first habit, the 4-second emotional buffer. High-value people understand a fundamental law of neurology. Between a stimulus and your response, there is a tiny window of time. For most people, that window slams shut instantly. Someone cuts you off in traffic, and you honk. A critical email arrives, and you fire back a defensive reply. They react before they think, driven by pure instinct. The leader, however, knows how to stretch that window. When pressure hits, a sudden crisis, a difficult question, an unexpected problem, they take a deliberate 4-second breath before saying or doing anything. 1, 2, 3, 4. This isn't just a generic calm down technique. It's a power move. It does 2 things simultaneously. First, it stops the amygdala, the brain's panic button, from hijacking your mind. Second, it sends a powerful, nonverbal signal to everyone in the room that you are the one in control of the clock. You aren't being rushed by the situation. The situation is waiting for you. The next time you feel that surge of pressure, just pause. Breathe for 4 seconds. You will be astonished at how much clarity and authority you gain in that tiny gap. Now for the second habit, the De-Personalization shield. When someone attacks you verbally, or a project you've poured your heart into fails, the natural tendency is to take it personally. It feels like a direct assault on your identity, your worth. And this is a trap. It drags you into an emotional swamp where logic can't survive. High-value people activate what I call the De-Personalization shield. They consciously separate their identity from the event. If a client is yelling at them, they don't internalize it as, "I am a failure." Instead, they observe, this person has lost control of their own emotions. If a proposal gets rejected, they don't think, my ideas are worthless. They think, this approach didn't meet the required criteria. What data am I missing? By detaching your ego from the outcome, you become an objective problem solver instead of a victim. You stop asking the useless question, why is this happening to me? And start asking the powerful question, what is the most logical next step? The pressure is no longer about you. It's just a puzzle to be solved. The third habit is one you can feel, and it's called the low-frequency voice. Think about how your body reacts to stress. Your shoulders tense up, your breathing becomes shallow, and your vocal cords tighten. This makes your voice get higher, thinner, and faster. It's a biological signal that says, I am stressed, I am threatened, I am not in control. It's the voice of prey. High-value people consciously fight this impulse. In moments of high pressure, they make a deliberate effort to speak from their diaphragm at a lower frequency and a slightly slower pace. Why does this work so well? Because a deep, steady voice is a universal biological signal for a predator that isn't afraid. It communicates authority and stability. When you intentionally lower your tone, you aren't just convincing others that you're calm, you are literally tricking your own nervous system into thinking you're safe. It's a biofeedback loop. A calm voice tells your brain there's no threat, which in turn calms your body, which helps you maintain that steady voice. It's a simple physical adjustment that has profound psychological effects on both you and everyone listening. Alright, here it is. The secret I promised you at the beginning. Habit number 4. The observer's pivot. This is for when the pressure is truly overwhelming. When you feel that sense of panic starting to take over. In these moments, your brain enters what psychologists call tunnel vision. You can only see the threat right in front of your face, and your problem-solving abilities completely shut down. The observer's pivot is the mental act of stepping outside of your own body and looking at the situation as a third party. Imagine you're floating in the corner of the room, looking down at yourself. Now, from that detached perspective, ask a tactical question. Not, "Oh no, what do I do?" But something like, "How would a professional crisis negotiator handle this emotional person?" Or, "What would a grandmaster in chess do in this exact position? What are the 3 possible moves?" By shifting from participant to observer, you do something incredible inside your brain. You disconnect the fear circuit in your amygdala and reactivate your prefrontal cortex, the part of you that strategizes, reasons, and actually solves complex problems. It's the fastest way to switch from feeling to thinking. Finally, habit number 5. Embracing the worst-case scenario. This might sound counterintuitive. Why would you think about the worst thing that could happen? But high-value people are often the calmest because they have already faced the worst in their minds. This is a powerful Stoic technique called Premeditatio Malorum, or the premeditation of evils. Before a high-pressure event, a major presentation, a difficult conversation, a risky launch, they take a few moments to vividly imagine everything going completely wrong. The deal falls through. The audience hates the speech. The project fails spectacularly. They don't dwell there, but they visit. They briefly accept that possibility. Once you have genuinely accepted the worst-case scenario, the pressure loses its teeth. The fear of failure is often more crippling than failure itself. By confronting it head-on, you neutralize that fear. You no longer have anything to hide from or be terrified of, which leaves you completely free to focus your energy on performing at 100%. The worst is just a possibility you've already made peace with, not a monster hiding in the dark. So let's bring it all together. Being calm under pressure isn't about being cold or emotionless, it's about being effective. When you stay quiet, centered, and steady, while everyone else is loud, chaotic, and reactive, you aren't just surviving the pressure, you are commanding it. You become the anchor in the storm. To recap the 5 habits. First, use the 4-second buffer to own the pace and give yourself room to think. Second, use the De-Personalization shield to protect your ego and stay objective. Third, use a low-frequency voice to signal authority to yourself and others. Fourth, use the observer's pivot to switch from panic to problem-solving. And fifth, accept the worst-case scenario to kill the fear before it even begins. If this video helped you understand how to reclaim your power in stressful moments, hit that like button and subscribe to A Little Smarter. We're here to help you think better so you can live better. Now, here's your challenge. I don't want you to wait for a major crisis. The next time you feel even a tiny bit of stress today, maybe it's a long line at the grocery store, a frustrating tech issue, or an annoying email, I want you to practice just one of these. Use the 4-second buffer. Take that breath. Experience what it feels like to be the calmest person in the room. Start building that unshakable core, one small moment at a time.